The air inside the auction dome was thick with excitement and tension. Varel City's largest dome rose like a silver mountain, its glass-like walls reflecting the colorful lights of the distant stars. Inside, the galaxy's richest and most influential beings had gathered. They had come to bid on rare and exotic creatures, specimens that were spoken of in whispers across systems. Every corner of the dome echoed with the sounds of negotiation, shouts, and the occasional roar of a strange beast. In the center of the dome, atop a raised platform, stood the most remarkable specimen of them all. She was an alien girl named Nora. Unlike the other creatures that squirmed or cried under the gaze of the bidders, she stood tall and composed. Her skin shimmered with a soft golden hue that shifted like sunlight on water. Her eyes were large and intelligent, watching everything with sharp awareness. Every movement she made carried grace and confidence. She was untamable, and everyone in the room knew it. Many had tried to control her before she had been brought to the dome, but no chains or restraints could hold her. She had a mind of her own and an instinct to resist anyone who tried to dominate her. The crowd murmured in admiration and disbelief. Some saw a prize to be conquered. Others saw a mystery that could not be solved. Among the crowd, hidden among the tall and proud alien bidders, was a human named Leo. He was quiet and unassuming, dressed in simple clothing that marked him as someone without wealth or status in the eyes of the aliens. But beneath his calm demeanor, his mind was alert. He watched everything, noting the reactions of the bidders and the way Nora moved. Humans were rare in these auctions. They were often underestimated because of their physical weakness compared to many alien species. But Leo had something the others lacked: cleverness and strategy. While the aliens focused on dominance and strength, he noticed subtle details. He saw how Nora tested every attempt to control her. She was not only intelligent but curious, and she had a spark that the bidders could not contain. The auction began. One by one, the bidders called out numbers, offering enormous sums of galactic credits. Creatures from distant planets were sold quickly, some glowing with psychic energy, others fierce and terrifying. Yet Nora remained. She did not panic. She did not plead. She simply observed. A large, horned alien raised his tentacle, demanding control over her. A cage extended from the platform, designed to restrict her movement, but she stepped lightly to the side, avoiding it. The alien's face twisted in anger. He roared in frustration. He tried again. She turned her gaze on him, her eyes calm but unyielding. In that moment, the crowd felt the force of her spirit. She was not a toy, not a prize, and certainly not something to be commanded. Leo's heart raced, but he remained calm outwardly. He saw something in her that no one else did. She was more than a creature to be auctioned. She represented freedom and intelligence. He knew that if he could reach her, not as a master but as an ally, she would be unstoppable. He had to act. When the bidding continued, Leo's turn came. He raised his hand and called out a number that stunned everyone. It was far higher than anyone expected from a human. The auctioneer blinked, a long appendage flicking nervously. The horned alien growled. Others laughed, thinking a human had no chance of winning. But Leo did not hesitate. He maintained eye contact with Nora. She tilted her head slightly, curious about him. The auctioneer's voice echoed, announcing the final bid. The dome fell silent. Leo had won. For the first time, the untamable alien girl was legally owned by a human. But the moment was not one of triumph over her. It was a promise of respect. Leo stepped forward, approaching the platform carefully. He did not reach for her or demand obedience. Instead, he extended a hand, a gesture of trust and peace. Nora studied him for a long moment. Then she allowed herself to step down from the platform. She did not speak, but her eyes followed him. She sensed something different about this human. He did not seek to dominate her. He sought understanding. The other bidders grumbled and left, some muttering about human foolishness. Leo escorted Nora through the corridors of the dome, avoiding the stares and whispers of those who could not understand their bond. He had prepared for this journey. He had studied the dome's layout and planned a safe route. He carried supplies, maps, and tools that would help them escape any ambushes or traps. Outside the dome, the city was alive with neon lights, flying vehicles, and endless activity. Humans were rare, but they moved quietly, blending into the background. Leo guided Nora through back alleys and service tunnels, avoiding the main streets where bounty hunters and alien authorities might appear. She walked beside him, alert and graceful, testing him silently. Leo knew trust would not come easily. Nora had been captured and fought all her life. She would not follow blindly. He allowed her space, speaking softly and showing her his intentions. "You are free to choose," he said. "I only ask for your cooperation, not obedience." Nora's eyes narrowed slightly. She did not respond with words, but she understood. Humans were strange in their approach. They valued cleverness and patience more than raw power. She could sense that Leo had something other bidders lacked. He saw her not as an object, but as a partner in survival. Their journey through Viral City was not without danger. A group of alien enforcers recognized Nora and attempted to intercept them. Leo acted quickly. Using his human ingenuity, he activated a series of small drones he had carried in a hidden bag. The drones projected holograms of multiple figures, confusing the enforcers. Leo then triggered a smoke device that obscured their movement. They slipped through narrow tunnels and reached the outskirts of the city, where humans and other free-thinking aliens lived quietly. Along the way, Nora began to observe human resilience. They were weaker physically, but they adapted quickly, using tools, strategy, and quick thinking. She realized that humans' true strength lay in their minds, not their bodies. Leo's actions had demonstrated that. His patience, planning, and courage allowed them to escape a dangerous situation with minimal harm. When they finally reached the human settlement, Nora paused at the edge of the encampment. It was small, made of simple structures, but it had warmth. Children ran and laughed. Humans worked together to gather supplies, and the air smelled faintly of food and fire. Nora felt a strange curiosity. These beings, so ordinary in appearance, carried a spark that was unfamiliar yet powerful. Leo led her to a small dwelling where they would rest. He prepared food and offered it to her. She hesitated at first, but hunger won. She accepted it, observing the human rituals quietly. Leo spoke little, but every word was meant to teach her, to show her that humans valued life and freedom. As night fell, the stars shone brightly above the settlement. Leo and Nora stepped outside, looking at the sky. Nora's eyes reflected the distant galaxies. She had seen many worlds, many species, but humans were different. They had something rare, the ability to endure, to adapt, and to surprise. Leo broke the silence. "I know you have been treated as a prize before. I am not like the others. I want to learn from you, not control you." Nora studied him closely. She sensed honesty in his words. For the first time in her life, she felt the possibility of choice. She did not answer with words, but she stayed by his side. The auction dome was behind them, a symbol of the galaxy's obsession with power and control. Ahead lay uncertainty, danger, and adventure. But for the first time, Nora felt something new, possibility. And Leo understood that he had not just purchased a rare alien being. He had found a companion, a partner whose intelligence and spirit could teach humans more than they had ever imagined. In the quiet of the settlement, humans and an untamable alien girl began a tentative friendship. The stars above were endless and the galaxy was vast. Yet in that moment, two beings, one human and one alien, found a connection that no auction, no rule, and no power could break, and so the story began, not with domination but with respect, intelligence, and the unspoken understanding that humans, though often underestimated, had a potential that even the strongest beings in the galaxy could not ignore. The first light of dawn broke over the settlement, painting the simple buildings in gold and orange. The air smelled of fresh soil, cooked grains, and the faint tang of the nearby river. Nora watched it all silently. The humans moved quickly, with purpose, each action precise and efficient. She had seen many species across galaxies, but humans were different. They were physically weaker than most, yet every movement showed resilience, intelligence, and careful planning. Leo observed her carefully. He knew she was still cautious, still testing him. Trust did not come easily for someone like Nora. She had been captured, fought, and controlled for years. Her freedom was new, and she would not give it away lightly. Leo understood that. He allowed her to walk beside him freely, never touching her without consent, never ordering her to follow. "You should see how they build their shelters," Leo said softly, gesturing toward a small workshop. Inside, humans were assembling tools, repairing old machines, and constructing structures from scrap metal and wood. They survive with what they have, not what they are given. Nora tilted her head, her large eyes scanning the workshop. She noted the cleverness of their design, how simple materials were used to solve complex problems. She was curious, and curiosity was rare for someone who had spent most of their life fighting to survive. She had learned that intelligence could be used as a weapon, but she had never seen it used to build, protect, and cooperate like this. Leo led her to a small dwelling at the edge of the settlement. He had chosen it for its safety and simplicity. Inside, he laid out supplies, food, clean water, and simple clothing. He did not force her to eat, only offered. She approached cautiously and accepted. Every bite she took was a small step in understanding humans. Their peaceful morning was interrupted by a sudden alert. From the hills surrounding the settlement, dust clouds rose. Nora's eyes narrowed instantly. She had learned to read danger quickly. Leo's hand went to a small device on his belt. He had prepared for this. "They are coming," he said calmly. "Bounty hunters. They want you back, or at least they want to study you." Nora did not panic. Instead, she studied the terrain and the approaching figures. Her alien senses allowed her to detect movement, strength, and intent with precision. Leo watched her, impressed by her awareness. He knew he could not match her physical speed, but he had other strengths: strategy, planning, and adaptability. As the first group of hunters appeared on the ridge, Leo activated small devices he had placed earlier. Holographic images projected around the settlement, creating the illusion of multiple defenders. The hunters hesitated, confused. Leo used the distraction to guide Nora into a narrow canyon that led to a hidden path. "This way," he whispered. They moved quickly, their steps silent. Nora matched his pace without question, realizing he was not just clever but brave. She had never encountered a human like him before. Most humans she had seen were weak or fearful. Leo was neither. The canyon narrowed, forcing them to move single file. The hunters' shouts echoed behind them, but the humans' preparation slowed the pursuers. Leo had anticipated this route and placed small traps along the path. One simple mechanism sent a cloud of dust into the air, blinding the hunters temporarily. Another triggered a small landslide that blocked the canyon behind them. Nora smiled faintly. She had never seen such simple tools used so effectively. The human's ingenuity was not about power or aggression. It was about intelligence, patience, and careful observation. She realized that humans were underestimated not because they were weak, but because they were unpredictable. After several hours, they reached the edge of a dense forest. Leo paused, allowing Nora to catch her breath. She leaned against a tree, her sharp eyes scanning the surroundings. "Humans are clever," she said quietly. "I underestimated you," Leo smiled. "We survive by thinking, not just by strength. That is our power." They moved through the forest carefully, avoiding patrols and scouting parties. The dense trees provided cover but also required constant attention. Leo had taught Nora some basic human tracking techniques, while she shared her alien knowledge about detecting life forms and predicting movement. Together they became a team. Nora's physical speed and agility complemented Leo's planning and strategy. By nightfall, they reached a hidden area known to the settlement. It was a small clearing with a freshwater source and natural cover. Leo had chosen it because it was difficult for enemies to find and easy to defend. They built a temporary shelter using branches, leaves, and simple tools. Leo worked quickly, showing Nora each step. She observed, learning, but also contributing. Her alien knowledge allowed them to make the structure stronger than it appeared. As they settled in for the night, Leo spoke softly. "You are free to leave at any time. I do not wish to hold you by force." Nora considered this carefully. She had been held against her will for so long that freedom was both thrilling and confusing. Yet she felt something new with Leo. He did not demand obedience. He valued her choices and respected her intelligence. For the first time, she felt the possibility of friendship rather than captivity. Suddenly, a noise broke the quiet of the forest. Leaves rustled unnaturally. Nora's eyes widened. Leo reached for a small weapon he carried, not to attack, but to signal readiness. They crouched, moving silently toward the sound. A group of small scouting drones appeared, hovering low. They were searching for them, but they had not yet seen the shelter. Leo quickly set up a diversion. Using a reflective device, he projected multiple images of their figures in different directions. The drones paused, confused by the sudden signals. Nora used her speed and agility to move quietly along the perimeter, checking for additional threats. Together, they managed to evade detection. After the drones left, they returned to the shelter. Nora looked at Leo with newfound respect. "You think quickly. Humans are clever," Leo nodded. "We have to be. We are not the strongest, but we survive by using our minds. You will see this more clearly in the days ahead." For the next several days, Leo and Nora moved cautiously through the wilderness, always avoiding the main roads and patrols. They practiced basic survival skills, finding food, purifying water, and creating traps to warn of intruders. Nora began to see humans in a new light. They were fragile compared to many alien species, but their strength lay in problem-solving, cooperation, and adaptability. One evening, as they rested by a campfire, Nora spoke. "I have fought and run all my life. I have never trusted anyone, but I feel I can trust you." Leo looked at her calmly. "Trust is not given lightly. I will earn it every day by keeping you safe and respecting your choices." Nora studied him, then nodded. "Then we will learn from each other." This marked the beginning of a partnership. They were no longer simply human and alien. They were allies, combining knowledge and skill to survive in a galaxy that often underestimated humans. The stars above were endless and bright. Each night, Nora studied them, remembering distant planets and galaxies she had seen. Leo did the same, thinking of the human settlements he had known and the possibilities that lay ahead. Together, they realized that survival was only the first step. The real journey was to learn, adapt, and grow stronger through understanding each other. As they prepared to move deeper into the forest toward a safer location, Leo reminded her, "We are not just running. We are learning. Every step makes us stronger, not just physically, but in mind and spirit." Nora smiled faintly. She had been untamable before, fighting against everyone who tried to control her. Now she was untamable in a different way by choice. She would not submit to domination, but she was willing to cooperate with those who valued intelligence, respect, and freedom. The days ahead promised danger, but also opportunity. Leo and Nora were not only surviving, they were preparing to show that humans could stand alongside the strongest species in the galaxy, not through brute force, but through cleverness, strategy, and courage. By the time the sun rose again over the forest, Leo and Nora had built a small but secure camp. They had food, shelter, and a plan for the next journey. Nora looked at the human beside her. He was not like the others she had known. He did not underestimate her, nor did he try to dominate her. He had chosen to pay for her at the auction not to control, but to protect and learn. In that quiet morning light, Nora realized that humans, despite their small size and weakness, had a power she had never seen before. It was the power of the mind, the power of ingenuity, and the power of respect. She felt a strange hope for the first time in years, and so Leo and Nora continued their journey. Each step brought them closer to understanding each other, closer to survival, and closer to a future where humans would not be underestimated in a galaxy that often overlooked them. Together they moved forward, ready for the challenges that awaited them beyond the forest and the horizon. The forest had grown darker as they moved deeper, thick with towering trees and tangled undergrowth. The air smelled of damp earth and moss, and distant sounds of alien creatures echoed through the canopy. Leo and Nora moved cautiously, each step deliberate. The days in the settlement had taught them survival skills, but the wilderness was another challenge. Every sound, every shadow could mean danger. Nora moved beside Leo silently, her senses sharp. She had spent her life relying on speed, strength, and instinct. Humans, she had learned, relied on something different: planning, observation, and cleverness. Watching Leo navigate the forest, she realized how precise humans could be when their minds were fully engaged. He did not rush. He observed, anticipated, and acted only when necessary. Leo paused at a stream, kneeling to drink and to check their surroundings. "We need to keep moving," he said quietly. "The bounty hunters may have regrouped, and they will not give up easily. Humans can hide well, but we cannot let them track us." Nora watched him with curiosity. She had relied on raw speed and power to survive in the past, but now she was learning patience. Humans could be slow, careful, and deliberate, yet their strategies were effective. She realized that strength was not always physical. Sometimes it was in thinking, planning, and adapting. As they continued, Leo taught her basic tracking skills. "Look at the ground," he said, pointing to broken twigs and faint footprints. "You can see where others have been even if they try to hide. Humans may be small, but we notice things others miss." Nora bent down, examining the marks carefully. Her alien eyes detected subtle differences in pressure and angle. She adjusted her movements, learning to combine her instinct with human observation. For the first time, she felt a connection with another being, not through combat, but through understanding. Hours passed, and the forest grew denser. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows that could hide threats or allies. Leo and Nora made camp near a small clearing. Leo prepared a fire, and Nora watched him work, fascinated by the way humans used simple materials to create warmth and light. She had seen fires before, but humans did not just make fire. They made it work for them, using it to cook, to signal, and to stay safe. That night, as they ate a simple meal, Leo spoke quietly. "You have been hunted all your life. I know trust is hard for you. You can leave at any time, but I hope you will stay. Humans are not all weak or careless. Some of us fight in different ways." Nora considered his words. She had spent years relying only on herself, never trusting anyone. Yet Leo's actions had shown her something new. He did not command, he did not threaten, and he did not force her. He had paid for her at the auction, but his treatment was not ownership, it was respect. Slowly, a spark of trust began to grow inside her. Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden sound. A branch snapped in the distance and both froze. Nora's senses detected movement before Leo could even see it. Figures emerged from the trees. Bounty hunters, armed and determined. Leo's heart raced, but he remained calm. He had prepared for this possibility. "Stay close," he whispered. He activated a small device that projected holographic decoys around the clearing. The hunters paused, confused by the sudden images of multiple figures. Nora used the distraction to move silently, circling around them to find a vantage point. The human's ingenuity surprised Nora. She had relied on speed and strength, but strategy and preparation could be just as powerful. Leo guided her through the shadows, avoiding direct confrontation. They moved like a single unit, each anticipating the other's actions. The hunters advanced, but Leo's traps delayed them. A simple tripwire triggered a net that ensnared one hunter, while another trap released a cloud of spores that irritated their senses. Nora watched, impressed by the effectiveness of human tactics. She realized that humans could turn weakness into strength through creativity. After a tense chase, Leo and Nora reached a small cave hidden behind thick vines. They entered silently, catching their breath. The hunters' shouts grew distant, and the forest returned to its quiet rhythm. Nora sat down, her body tense but alert. "You are clever," she said finally, her voice soft but sincere. "Humans are more powerful than I thought." Leo smiled. "Not through strength, but through thinking. We survive by noticing what others miss, by preparing for what they do not expect." Nora studied him closely. For the first time, she felt she could rely on someone other than herself. Leo had not just guided her through the forest. He had taught her something she had never known, the power of strategy and patience. The next days were spent traveling cautiously. Leo and Nora learned from each other constantly. Nora taught Leo about alien senses, agility, and instinct, while Leo taught her human techniques for survival, tracking, and problem-solving. They became more than companions. They became a team. One afternoon, they reached a plateau overlooking a valley. Nora stopped to study the landscape. The valley below was dotted with settlements and patrols. Alien forces were searching for her, but Leo had taught her to observe and plan before acting. Together, they identified safe routes and potential threats. "We will move at dawn," Leo said. "The patrols will be lighter and we can use the shadows to our advantage." Nora nodded. She had learned to trust his judgment. She no longer saw him as a weak human, but as a partner who could help her survive and perhaps even thrive in a galaxy that often underestimated humans. That night, they made a small camp on the plateau. The stars stretched endlessly above, and the wind whispered through the grass. Leo looked at Nora and spoke softly. "You are strong and smart. You could survive on your own, but together we are stronger. Humans have a way of turning small advantages into big victories." Nora considered this carefully. "I have fought and fled all my life. I have never allowed anyone to be close. But I feel I can trust you," Leo nodded. "Trust is earned, not given. and I will earn it every day." Their bond deepened as they shared stories of past struggles and victories. Nora spoke of her life before capture, of planets she had visited and creatures she had encountered. Leo shared his experiences as a human, often underestimated, often overlooked, but always learning. They found common ground not in strength but in intelligence, curiosity, and the desire for freedom. The following morning, as dawn painted the plateau in soft orange light, Leo and Nora prepared to descend into the valley. They knew dangers awaited them, but they also knew that together they could face anything. Their combined skills, human ingenuity and alien instinct, made them a formidable pair. As they moved carefully toward the valley, they encountered a small group of humans who had been hiding from alien patrols. These humans were wary at first, unsure of Nora, but Leo's reputation and the way he treated her with respect earned their trust. Nora demonstrated her skills, showing the humans that she was not a weapon to be controlled but a partner to be understood. By evening, they had created a small temporary camp with the new group. Humans and Nora worked together, sharing knowledge and skills. Nora began to see that humans' true strength lay in cooperation and cleverness. She had fought alone all her life, but now she understood the power of alliances and mutual respect. Leo watched her closely, noting how her trust was growing. She had been untamable, but now she was learning a new kind of strength, the strength that comes from understanding, respect, and partnership. As night fell over the valley, Leo and Nora sat by the fire. The stars above shone brightly, reflecting in Nora's eyes. "We have learned much in these days," Leo said softly. "But the real test is ahead. Bounty hunters will not give up. The galaxy will not stop hunting you, but together we can face anything." Nora nodded. She had learned to trust, to observe, and to respect humans in a way she had never done before. She realized that Leo was not just her protector, he was her partner, and together they could survive and grow stronger. The fire crackled as the night deepened. For the first time, Nora felt a sense of belonging. She was untamable, but she was not alone. She had found someone who valued her choices, respected her intelligence, and shared her desire for freedom. And so, in the quiet of the valley, two beings, human and alien, prepared for the trials that awaited them. Their bond was not built on domination or fear, but on trust, respect, and the shared understanding that strength comes in many forms, not just physical. The galaxy was vast, full of danger and uncertainty, but Leo and Nora were ready. Together, they would face every challenge, proving that humans, though often underestimated, could rise above expectations through ingenuity, courage, and loyalty. The sun rose slowly over the valley, casting golden light on the small camp Leo, Nora, and the humans had established. The forest around them was quiet, but Leo knew it was only temporary. Word of the untamable alien girl and the human who protected her had spread across nearby planets. Powerful factions, interested in controlling Nora or studying her abilities, were mobilizing. Leo moved through the camp, checking supplies and reinforcing defenses. Nora watched him closely. In the last days, she had learned much from humans: patience, observation, and strategy. She had seen how Leo's mind worked, turning small advantages into powerful tools. Her admiration for humans grew. They may be small, but they were unpredictable, clever, and courageous. "We cannot stay here for long," Leo said to Nora. "They are coming for you, but we will not run blindly. We will fight smart." Nora's eyes narrowed. She had been hunted her entire life, but she had rarely seen humans fight with this kind of intelligence. "I will follow your lead," she said quietly. "I trust you." Leo nodded, but his mind was already working. They had limited resources, but humans could improvise. He began planning traps and diversions, using the terrain to their advantage. Nora contributed as well, suggesting ways to use her speed and agility to flank enemies and gather intelligence. Together they formed a strategy that combined human ingenuity and alien instinct. The first attack came at dusk. A group of heavily armed alien soldiers appeared on the ridge above the valley. Their ships hovered above, scanning for movement. The humans were tense but ready. Leo directed them silently, placing small automated devices that projected decoy figures to confuse the attackers. Nora moved ahead, her agile form invisible in the shadows. She observed the soldiers, noting patterns and weaknesses. She relayed the information to Leo through subtle gestures and whispers. Leo adjusted their defenses accordingly, anticipating the soldiers' movements. When the attack began in full, the humans were ready. Traps triggered automatically, ensnaring several soldiers while others were distracted by holographic illusions. Nora used her speed to strike and retreat, creating chaos in the enemy ranks. The humans, guided by Leo's careful planning, targeted weak points and used the environment to their advantage. The battle was intense but short. The attackers were strong, but they had underestimated human creativity. What they thought would be a quick capture turned into confusion and retreat. Nora looked at the battlefield, impressed. Humans had no natural strength against these soldiers, yet they had outsmarted them. She realized that strength was not always measured in muscle or firepower. Intelligence, preparation, and cooperation could be just as powerful. After the battle, Leo and Nora surveyed the area. The humans were exhausted but unharmed. "This is only the beginning," Leo said. "They will come again, and next time they may be stronger. But we will be ready. Humans survive because we think, adapt, and never give up." Nora nodded. "I have fought alone all my life. But with you, I feel we can face anything." In the days that followed, Leo and Nora worked to strengthen the camp. They built more traps, improved their hiding spots, and created signal systems to warn of approaching enemies. Nora taught the humans some of her alien abilities, showing them how to move silently and anticipate attacks. In return, the humans taught her to use tools and strategies she had never considered. One evening, a scout returned with urgent news. A larger force was approaching, determined to capture Nora. This time the attackers were not just soldiers. They had machines, weapons, and creatures designed to overpower. The humans were tense, but Leo remained calm. He had a plan. He gathered the group and explained their strategy. "We cannot fight them directly. We will use the terrain, traps, and our wits. Humans may seem weak, but we have survived against impossible odds before. And we are not alone. Nora's skills give us an advantage no one expects." Nora's eyes shone with determination. She had never seen humans face such danger with confidence. They were not reckless, but deliberate, calculating every move. She realized that humans' true power was in their minds. When the attack came, it was more brutal than before. Ships hovered above, scanning the forest for heat signatures. Ground forces advanced, armed with energy weapons and mechanical beasts. But Leo and the humans were prepared. They used smoke, decoys, and traps to create confusion. Nora struck swiftly and precisely, disabling key machines and taking down attackers with minimal effort. The humans followed Leo's directions, moving as a coordinated unit. They used the environment to their advantage, setting ambushes and creating obstacles. Every move was calculated, every decision aimed at survival. The attackers were strong, but they could not anticipate human ingenuity combined with alien abilities. After hours of careful fighting, the attackers retreated. The humans cheered quietly, exhausted but victorious. Nora looked at them, realizing she had underestimated their potential. Humans were fragile in appearance, but their minds made them formidable. Leo had not only protected her, but he had also shown her that humans could rise to any challenge through intelligence, creativity, and cooperation. As night fell, Leo and Nora walked to the edge of the forest. The stars stretched endlessly above, and the valley below was calm once more. "You have seen what humans can do," Leo said. "We are not the strongest species, but we survive because we adapt, we plan, and we never give up. That is our power." Nora smiled faintly. "I have fought many battles, but this is different. Humans fight with their minds, not just their bodies. I respect that. I have never seen anything like it." Leo looked at her seriously. "And there is more to learn. The galaxy underestimates us, but that is our advantage. We can surprise them when they think they know everything. Together we are stronger than they realize." In the following days, they continued to strengthen their camp and teach the humans new skills. Nora shared her knowledge of alien tactics and survival, while Leo taught them human strategies, improvisation, and planning. The humans learned quickly, inspired by their leadership. They began to see themselves not as weak, but as clever and capable. News of their victory spread across the region. Other humans previously oppressed or hidden began seeking them out. They came quietly, bringing skills, knowledge, and hope. Nora realized that humans' greatest strength was their ability to inspire and unite. A small group of determined individuals could change the outcome of events in ways larger, stronger forces could not predict. One morning, as Leo and Nora trained with the group, a message arrived from a distant settlement. Other humans were under attack, and they requested help. Leo studied the information carefully. "We will help them," he said. "It will be dangerous, but we have learned how to turn our weaknesses into strengths. The galaxy thinks humans are weak, but we will show them otherwise." Nora nodded. She had never seen humans act with such courage and determination. Their strategy was not based on brute force, but on intelligence, planning, and cooperation. She felt a growing respect for them and for Leo. He had not only saved her, but had shown her that humans could stand against any threat if they used their minds and hearts. As they prepared to leave for the distant settlement, Leo looked at Nora. "Are you ready?" he asked. "I am," she said. "I trust you, and I know humans have a power no one expects." Together, they left the valley, moving with purpose. Each step demonstrated their growing strength and partnership. They were no longer just survivors. They were a force to be reckoned with. Humans, underestimated by many, were showing that intelligence, courage, and unity could overcome even the strongest foes. The stars above shone brightly as they traveled. Each victory reinforced their understanding that humans' true power lay not in muscle or firepower, but in their minds, their creativity, and their unyielding spirit. Nora realized that her life had changed. She had been untamable before, but now she had chosen to fight alongside humans, learning from them and respecting their strength in ways few others had. And so, as Leo, Nora, and their growing group of humans moved forward, the galaxy began to see a different kind of power. It was quiet, clever, and relentless. The power of humanity was rising, and no one would underestimate it again. The wind swept over the cliffs of the distant planet where Leo and Nora had brought their growing group of humans and allies. From above, the small settlement looked modest and fragile. Yet Leo knew its true strength was not in walls or weapons, but in the people who lived there, and the intelligence that guided them. Nora stood beside him, her golden skin glowing softly in the light of the twin suns. She had become more than a survivor. She had become a leader, a symbol of what humans and aliens could achieve together. The journey to this point had been long and dangerous. They had faced bounty hunters, alien soldiers, and machines designed to overpower them. Each time, humans had turned apparent weakness into advantage. They had learned to anticipate, improvise, and act with precision. Now, with Nora at their side, their combined abilities created a force no one had expected. Leo surveyed the settlement. Simple buildings were reinforced with natural materials and clever traps. Every entrance had a hidden alert system, and high ground provided excellent vantage points. He had taught the humans to anticipate attacks and plan defenses that required minimal force, yet maximum effect. "Do you think they will attack here?" Nora asked. "Some will try," Leo replied, "but they will find it harder than ever. Humans are not easy to surprise anymore, and you have taught them how to fight smarter." Nora nodded, her eyes scanning the perimeter. She had learned to see humans not as weak creatures, but as clever, adaptable allies. Their determination impressed her. She had seen many strong species, but few with the combination of courage and intellect she now observed in humans. The first challenge came sooner than expected. Scouts reported a fleet of alien warships approaching the planet's atmosphere. The settlements below were vulnerable. Alien forces wanted Nora, but they also wanted to crush the humans who had helped her escape. Leo called a council with the leaders of the settlement. "We cannot fight them head-on," Leo said. "Our strength is not in brute force. We will use strategy, traps, and misdirection. Every move must be calculated. Humans are underestimated because others assume weakness. That is our advantage. Nora added. We will use the terrain, the forest, and the cliffs. We can split their forces, delay them, and force mistakes. Together we are unpredictable. The humans listened carefully, inspired by the confidence and clarity of their leaders. They were not soldiers, yet they had learned how to fight strategically. They were small, but their minds were powerful. Nora moved among them, showing how to use agility and observation to complement Leo's plans. As the first ships entered orbit, Leo and Nora positioned their team. They had built hidden launchers for small drones, improvised energy disruptors, and traps that could disable machinery. The humans moved quietly, each understanding their role. Leo activated a series of signals, guiding them through the strategy step by step. The battle began with precision. Small squads of attackers descended from the ships, expecting an easy victory. They were met by decoy figures, smoke clouds, and hidden traps. Nora struck with speed and skill, disabling key machines before the enemies could react. Humans worked together, setting ambushes and using the environment to their advantage. Even though the attackers were stronger physically, they were unprepared for the combination of human ingenuity and alien agility. Every move was anticipated, every action countered. The attackers grew frustrated, unable to predict the next step. Leo watched the battle unfold with satisfaction, impressed by the discipline and creativity of the humans. Hours passed, and the attackers began to retreat. The humans had not only defended their settlement, but had inflicted significant losses on the enemy. Nora moved among them, checking for injuries and helping with repairs. She had once believed humans to be fragile, but now she saw their true strength. After the battle, the council gathered to discuss the future. Humans and Nora spoke together, sharing ideas for expanding their network of settlements and teaching other humans to defend themselves. The goal was not conquest, but survival, growth, and cooperation. Leo and Nora both emphasized intelligence, planning, and respect for all members of their community. You have learned well, Leo said to Nora. You see humans differently now. Nora smiled. I have. They are clever, resilient, and capable of more than I imagined, and I have learned to trust in them. With you and them, I am not afraid. The settlement began to thrive. Humans, previously hidden and weak in the galaxy's eyes, became skilled in strategy, defense, and survival. They learned from each other and from Nora. The alien girl who had once been a prize of an auction became a teacher, a partner, and a symbol of what humans could achieve when underestimated forces were combined with intelligence and courage. Months passed, and the group grew stronger. Other humans, inspired by stories of Leo and Nora, joined the settlement. They brought skills, knowledge, and determination. The alliance between humans and the untamable alien girl became known across nearby systems. Many powerful factions who had once dismissed humans now observed them with caution and respect. One day, scouts returned with troubling news. A massive force of alien mercenaries was preparing to attack a nearby human settlement. Leo, Nora, and their group decided to help. They traveled quickly, moving with stealth and strategy. Along the way, they trained the new humans, teaching them to use traps, diversion tactics, and observation skills. Every step reinforced their belief in human ingenuity. When they arrived, the settlement was under siege. Alien forces were strong, but Leo's group was prepared. Using a combination of Nora's speed and perception and the humans' clever traps, they turned the tide. Drones created illusions of large forces, traps slowed the enemy, and careful planning allowed humans to counterattack at critical points. The aliens were caught off guard by the humans' unpredictability. They had assumed weakness and were unprepared for strategy. By the time reinforcements arrived, the enemy had suffered serious losses and had retreated. The humans celebrated quietly, proud not only of their victory but of their intelligence, preparation, and teamwork. Nora watched the humans with admiration. I have never seen a species fight like this. Strength is not always physical. Your minds make you powerful, Leo smiled. That is the true power of humanity. We are underestimated, but our creativity, courage, and cooperation make us strong in ways others cannot see. The victory solidified the new alliance. Humans and free-thinking aliens began working together across multiple settlements. They shared knowledge, skills, and protection. Each settlement became a center of learning, strategy, and survival. Leo and Nora continued to lead, showing that respect, intelligence, and courage could achieve what brute force could not. Nora had grown in her role as well. She no longer saw humans as fragile or weak. She respected them, learned from them, and trusted them. She had once been untamable, resisting all attempts to control her, but now she had chosen to fight alongside humans. She valued them as allies and partners, not subjects. Leo and Nora stood together at the edge of their largest settlement, looking over the thriving community. Children ran and played. Adults worked on strategies and defenses, and scouts patrolled the surrounding forests. It was a simple life, but one filled with purpose, growth, and hope. "We have come far," Leo said quietly. "The galaxy may not understand us yet, but we are stronger than they realize." Nora nodded. "Yes. We have shown that humans can adapt, survive, and inspire. Together we are unstoppable." The stars above were bright and endless. Leo and Nora looked up, imagining the future. Other settlements would follow, humans and aliens working together to protect freedom, intelligence, and life. The galaxy would begin to see that humans, though small and underestimated, could rise to incredible heights through strategy, courage, and cooperation. In that moment, Leo realized that the journey had not been about winning battles alone. It was about showing the galaxy the true power of humans. Nora had taught them speed, awareness, and instinct. Humans had taught her patience, strategy, and respect. Together they had forged a new path, one that no one could ignore. The future was full of challenges, but they were ready. Every human, every free-thinking alien, and every member of their alliance understood that strength was not just physical. It was intelligence, creativity, courage, and cooperation. They had survived, they had thrived, and they had shown that underestimated beings could achieve greatness. As Leo and Nora stood side by side, the wind blowing across the cliffs, they smiled. The auction where she had been sold seemed like a distant memory. Now she was free, respected, and a partner in building something larger than themselves. Together they had created a haven, a symbol of hope and a demonstration of human ingenuity and spirit. The galaxy had underestimated humans for too long. Now through courage, strategy, and partnership, humans had proven their true power, and Leo and Nora, human and alien, would continue to lead, teach, and inspire, showing that even the smallest, most underestimated species could rise to greatness.